What's up, guys? I'm Nick, and this is a story about how God used DTS to give me a greater sense of direction and clarity in my life than I ever had before. Before DTS, I was lacking so much direction in my life. I felt misguided, I didn't know the true path I was on, and I feel like I was just making every decision off of impulse and my own will and what I wanted in my life. Little did I know was that there was so much more promise and so much more for me that God had in store for my future. At DTS, that's where I learned all of that. DTS, that's where I learned I could hear the voice of God. God could speak directly to me, and he could give me that sense of direction, and he could provide that sense of clarity that I never had before. That sense of direction called me to South Africa, and that was one of the coolest, most sound, safe things that he's ever said to me, because after saying that, and after speaking that to me, I just felt so comforted and so at peace with that's where I was supposed to go. Because I was stressing so much as to how many outreach locations there were, and I wanted to make sure it was the correct location. I wanted to make sure that's where he wanted me to be and that I wasn't somewhere he didn't want me to be. And being called to South Africa, I know for sure that was the correct place because the amount of fruit and the amount of awesome ministry that came out of it. I knew it was right up my alley because we did so much youth ministry, which I have a big heart for kids. I love kids so much. And we did train ministry, we preached the gospel on trains, sang worship, prayed for people. It was so cool. But one of the biggest things that we did there, or that I did there personally, one of my favorites, was I preached an entire sermon at a South African church. And going into that, once again, I felt a lack of direction and a lack of clarity as to what I wanted to speak about. I was worried about my notes, I was worried about the verses, and I was worried about whether I was going to say the right things. During that time, I was just so stressed as to, am I really qualified to do this? I was so stressed as to is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? The enemy was definitely attacking me, and I just was so lost and did not know what I was going to do about this sermon. But during that time, I just pressed into the Lord so much. I remained in constant prayer. I just chased after what he wanted from me. I just remained so faithful that I knew that he was gonna give me so much direction and clarity as to what I was gonna do. And he just told me that, Nick, this is what I want you to be doing. Nick, I want you to do this, and this is what you're supposed to be doing. And going up on that stage, I'd never felt more comfortable in front of a crowd than I have in my entire life. I was never the big speaker, the big presenter at school. It was always kind of shaky for me. Never felt like I was big on public speaking. But at that church, sharing that sermon was one of the most comfortable circumstances I've ever been in my life, which was so weird, so strange. But I knew that was definitely God being on my side and God working through me, because the words just came out effortlessly, they came out seamlessly. I didn't stumble. I was never searching for words to say, because I just felt like the Holy Spirit was just speaking through me and giving me the words to say the entire time. God, he just gave me so much direction through that sermon, and I was able to speak so much life and so much truth into the people of that church. There was 60 people at church that day, and I feel like their lives were changed forever after that because of what God was able to do through me.